This is Britt Caswell with another example video. In today's video, we are covering example 5 from section 7-2 in the SavvasRealize Algebra 2 textbook. The goal of today's video is to convert between degrees and radians. And I'm actually going to go back and borrow a little graphic. I kind of covered this a little bit in example 4. I'm going to cover it a little more formally here in example 5. Alrighty, so here is our unit circle, right? And we discussed how when you have a radian, it's an angle formed from having one unit of an arc, right? And so then we said, well, 1 pi radian is the same thing as the top half of the unit circle. So if I were to compare that top pi of the unit circle, I know that's also 180 degrees. So as such, what I can do is I can create a ratio. I can say that 180 degrees is the same thing as pi radians, or I could say that pi radians is the same thing as 180 degrees. And so these ratios make it possible for us to convert between radians to degrees or from degrees to radians by multiplying by this ratio. Because these degree and radians are the same thing, this fraction is just 1. And multiplying by 1 doesn't change the value of an expression. Alright, so let's try letter B. So the first thing is that we start with pi over 7 radians. So if I have my radians and I want to go to degrees, what I'm going to do, I'm sorry if you hear squeaking, my cat's playing next to me. But if I have radians and I want to go to degrees, I'm going to choose the ratio here that has a degree on the top and the radians on the bottom. Because when I multiply it, what it's going to do is it's going to cancel out the radians, leaving me with the degrees. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and let's give this a shot. Sorry, I threw my cat's fish and he didn't realize where it went. There we go. Alrighty. So, again, I have radians here, so I'm going to use the one that has degrees on the top. So I'm multiplying by 180 degrees over pi radians. So do you see how the pi and the pi will cancel out because one's in the numerator and one's in the denominator? So this gives me 180 degrees divided by 7. And so if I take out my handy dandy calculator and do 180 divided by 7, I'm going to get approximately, okay, this isn't exact because my decimal goes on for forever, but I'm getting approximately 25.7 degrees. Alrighty, so now let's try the degrees to radians. So because I have degrees and I'm looking for radians, I'm going to multiply by the one that has radians in the numerator. Do you see how the degree and the degree will cancel each other out? Now usually when we're dealing with radians, we'll end up with a fraction that we want to leave in terms of pi. Alright, see how over here, like on our circle, we have like pi over 2 or 3 pi over 2. That's kind of what our goal is here. So instead of getting an approximation like we do with degrees, we leave it as some kind of fraction. Now both 75 and 180 are divisible by 15. So if I were to reduce that, I get 5/12 pi radians. They might list it as 5 pi over 12. That's acceptable as well. Alrighty, so now we're going to go through and we're going to do the try it, and we're going to do the same thing. Now what's interesting is when they do it on the try it in Savvas, they actually convert their radians to decimals, which is weird. I don't like it. I'm going to do it because that's what Savvas does, but I'm not going to like doing it. So I have a degree measurement, so I'm going to multiply it by the one that has the radians on the top. So times pi radians over 180 degrees. And so if I do 112 divided by 180, what I get is I get 6.222222 pi radians. But they don't like it in terms of pi either for this example. So I'm taking that 0.6222222 and I'm timesing it by pi. And so what I'm getting is an approximation. It's about 1.95 radians. Again, we usually leave it as a fraction. So just kind of look for what, like what Savvas is asking for, like what form they're asking for it to be in. Okay, so here we have pi over 6 radians, and we're multiplying to make it equal to degrees. So I want the one with the degrees on the top. All right, so my pi's cancel out, and I have 180 degrees divided by 6, which is 30 degrees. So there we have it, guys. That is how to convert between radians and degrees. Until next time.